going to get to that one, knocks it down for Messi, into the middle, Fernandez, Lautaro Martinez, save Messi! Cleared away, did it cross the line? Did it cross the line? Yes, it did!
We'll have to wait and see.
Outswinger from Ham in deep and flicked away. Mbappe, that was blocked, was it a hand? It was! Penalty for France!
It's Montiel, look, it's 100% a penalty.
Now the 118th minute. Yes! This final, Konate launches it low. Koulibaly saved!
You defend. Guys.
So France will shoot first.
Yes!
Oh, this is interesting to see. A daily sports podcast, news, narratives, takes, and gambling. I first must apologize for my hiatus last week. I was traveling for work and I brought all my equipment to record. But I forgot the wrong cable. I brought the wrong cable. You know what I mean. This has been the greatest, perhaps, weekend of sports in my life. Mostly NFL football and the World Cup. We will get into NFL football. That was World Cup highlights, courtesy of the Fox Sports YouTube channel. Like, rate, review, subscribe. So, the question is not, is Messi the greatest soccer player of all time? The question is, was that the greatest game ever played by any team? Was that the greatest sporting game of all time? And off the top of my head, I would have to say yes. There's nothing missing. Argentina back, they win the World Cup. They defeat France 3-2, 3-3 plus on penalties. Argentina was up 2-0, then it was 2-2, then it was 3-2 Argentina, then it was 3-3 France. In the highlights you saw there was a save right there that was just utterly, I'm going to mute this to avoid some whatever. The save here, is this the greatest save in the history of soccer? I mean, it absolutely has to be the greatest save in the history of the game. He's on a breakaway, and he just sticks his foot out. Unbelievable. So the other parts of this game that they had, Messi, the greatest player of all time, Mbappe, the greatest player currently in the world, they show out. Each of them have 2 goals. Mbappe actually has a hat trick from penalty kicks, one of which that he just caused by himself. It had been years and years for Messi, and he had never really won an international trophy worth anything, and now he wins the World Cup. In 2014, Argentina were finalists and runners-up. Unbelievable. But if you want to sound smart, the real winner of the World Cup is a man you may have never heard of if you're in the United States, and that is Peter Drurry. Peter Drurry, in the last 2 or 3 years, he has been one of the great play-by-play commentators in the history of soccer, and in the last 2 or 3 years, he is really just, it's gotten crazier, and I could say right now that Peter Drurry is maybe the greatest play-by-play man of all time. He is just on a completely different level. Now, every play-by-play man, you think there's different diversity and whatnot. For example, Joe Buck, who does Fox Sports NFL did Fox Sports NFL for years and now does Monday Night Football with Troy Aikman. Joe Buck was a much better baseball guy, I thought, than football, but I mean, that's arguable. But Doc Emmerich doing hockey, Pat Summerall doing football, and Peter Drurry doing soccer, he's just outstanding. And some of his highlights and his build-up and how he knows exactly when to overtalk and when to shut up. It's incredible. So let's just give you some highlights here. This is Peter Drurry on Messi winning the World Cup. He works for NBC Sports now. I think he did this for radio or online stream or something. He did not do it in the United States. There's not a lot of rights. So this is just a picture, but let's take a listen.
Lionel Messi has shaken hands with paradise. The little boy from Rosario, Santa Fe, has just pitched up in heaven. He climbs into a galaxy of his own. He has his crowning moments. Champions of the world! Again! At last! And a nation will tango all night long!
Unbelievable. So I have one more for you. This is from a TikTok. It was dramatized with the music, but this is before Argentina and the Netherlands. If you're not familiar with international footy, Argentina and the Netherlands, they just seem to run into each other a lot at these tournaments. Confederations Cup, of course, the World Cup. They have a lot of really, really important players in world soccer history, that Premier League and La Liga and Serie A and Bundesliga. They just seem to run into each other all the time. So it's a bit of a rivalry. Here's Peter Drurry. They met this time, I think, in the quarters. Everybody, I thought that the winner of this one was going to win it. The Dutch had a great team. Argentina was the heavy favorite. So this is what Peter Drurry sounded like before that game.
Of all the great intercontinental rivalries, few as vivid, as resonant as this one. They walk here just as their forerunners did, into the ticker tape of Buenos Aires, the steamy heat of Marseille, the endless night of Sao Paulo. A game for the ages of Cruyff and Kroll, of Passarella and Kempes, of that ball from De Boer and Bergkamp's balletic beauty, of then and of now. An album of memories, and tonight, an abundance of scrumptious possibilities.
He's on another planet, man. And so, like, that's just something to look out for. Whoever has the Super Bowl this year should pay that guy $5 million to call it. Unbelievable weekend. And then we haven't even got to the NFL, which is maybe the craziest NFL weekend of all time. There's a bunch of different places to start, but let's start with the stupidest play in the history of professional sports. The situation. 3 seconds left. It's a tie game. We're going to overtime. The New England Patriots have the football. This happens. It's tied. Remember, it's tied.
Mac Hollins out on defense. He's all the way back.
I'm going to owe Fox so much money.
Is anyone going to tackle? Inside the 30, flips it.
Okay, so for those of you listening, it was a draw play. The guy gained like 25 yards. They're just kind of like letting him run a little bit, and they're going to tackle him and go to overtime. He then pitches it to his teammate, who takes it and runs straight backwards. So this is at around midfield. So the guy gets the ball at like the 40, and he's just running backwards.
Back.
Here he is. And now he throws it from the 40 to the middle of the logo where no one is. And it's picked off. Okay, listen to this.
Uh-oh. It's picked off.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
Incredible. Chandler Jones.
So the last play of the game, the guy throws it to a former Patriot, Chandler Jones, who takes it and is just like, oh, okay. And then he just runs in, and that's how the game ended. So pardon my take, the international sports, the number one sports podcast occasionally in the world, they were recording their podcast live, and this is what that sounded like.
Great day of football, great weekend of football. We had great games on Sunday as well. So let's recap it all. Let's do it all. We're going to do it in chronological order. Hank's pouty? No? Oh, he's not pouty. Okay.
It's a tie game. We got a tie Patriots game.
That's true. All right. So that sets the stage. Oh, my God.
He just little lateral.
He just threw it backwards.
Rugby.
Do they know it's a tie game?
Rugby.
This is dangerous.
No. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Raiders.
Oh,
shit.
God. That was the craziest
Oh, my
ending
God.
ever. The fact that we're taping, this is the first time we've ever.
That is essentially how the rest of us felt. Those guys are great, kind of. They're not relatable anymore, which is a completely different conversation. The Raiders went on the stupidest play in NFL history. That was the stupidest thing, but let's go in chronological order now. The first thing that happened over the weekend is that Matt Ryan blew the biggest lead. It's not his fault, but the Colts blew the biggest lead in NFL history. I'm not even going to play any highlights from that game because we don't have time. They were up 33-0 at halftime. They then go up 36-3, and then the Vikings come storming back. They win it on a field goal in overtime to improve to 11-3. They win the NFC North, which is crazy. Matt Ryan has some of the biggest blown leads in NFL history, including the biggest one in the playoffs, the second biggest one in the playoffs, biggest one in the Super Bowl, and the biggest one just in any game played in NFL history. But don't let that fool you. The Colts lead was essentially bullshit. They blocked a punt and returned it for like 7 yards for a touchdown. They got a pick-6 and returned it like 17 yards for a touchdown. Their offense did jack shit in that game. They just got a bunch of field goals. They sucked. They suck. It was a bullshit lead, and they absolutely the correct team won the game. It was just stupid in the way that it happened. And remember, sample size is important. They play 4 quarters, not 2. Just because someone has a lead doesn't mean the game is over. But then we had this play also. Is the only I guess this would be a top 5 play. Oh man, there's so much football. Sunday Night Football was great. But the 1 o'clock window was awesome too. We're in overtime for Jacksonville and your Dallas Cowboys. And, of course, Dakota Prescott, throws a out route. So Jacksonville's already possessed the ball, so all Dallas needs is a field goal. And Dak Prescott throws an out route. It's a nice, simple out route. It should not be too big of a problem. However, it ends up being an enormous problem because the ball is tipped by Noah Brown and returned for a pick-6. Jacksonville comes all the way back. I think at one point they were down 27-3, perhaps 27-7. It was a huge lead for the Cowboys, and Jags come roaring back. And the big story over the last 3 or 4 weeks, since the Detroit Lions embarrassed him, my boys, the Detroit Lions, since the Lions embarrassed Trevor Lawrence, he's been the best quarterback in the NFL. He and Patrick Mahomes are the only two quarterbacks in the NFL that are good against every single coverage situation, which is just a nerdy way of like, oh, it's quarters, oh, it's man over the top, it's too high safety, blah, 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 blah. He's good against everything, and he's all the way back now. He's got an okay offensive line. He's got okay weapons. The defense is coming along. Doug Peterson is the best coach in the NFL. In my opinion, I don't think that's a hot take. It's kind of a hot take. I mean, he's great. He and the Eagles parted ways. He won a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. Yeah, he's an awesome coach. Here's the pick-6.
3rd and 4. Blitz coming. Prescott throws backwards and intercepted. Jenkins has another one. Racing down the sidelines. Rayshon Jenkins is going to win it.
Epic for the Jags. So the Titans lost to the Chargers, who won on a last-second field goal, which is boring, so we're not going to show it. The Titans lost, so they've kind of falling off the face of the earth. This is not over. 9-8 could win the AFC South, and the Jags now 6-8. I don't know. It's getting pretty close. Kind of unbelievable how interesting it's getting. Okay, Sunday Night Football. We'll just jump ahead to Sunday Night Football. What happened? The Detroit Lions, it's really interesting, needed this to happen. Everybody on the internet was rooting for a double tie. The Commanders are down 8. They're driving. There's like 60 seconds left. And then a couple things happen that are total bullshit. So here we go. Let's look at this. If you want to pull up your screen, you can watch on Spotify. You can watch on YouTube. It's 4th and 1. The Commanders punch it in. But Terry McLaurin, I don't know if he's an all-pro, but he's certainly one of the best 10 or so wide receivers in the NFL. He lines up offside. See, look, here he is right here, right? That puts the Commanders back 5 yards, and then they attempt another throw. But that throw that they attempted was very clearly pass interference. Like, very clearly pass interference. Like, there was a hug. Like, hugging and hug were trending last night on Twitter. They were hugging each other. Got there super early. Refs do not want to be the guy. Look at it. There it is. Here, all right, I'll pull it up for you. Here's from Robert Griffin III, who stole it from the Washington Commanders. The Commanders tweeted this? Whoa. Is this their video? Dang. So let's look at it. So look, there it is. Look how early he gets. He's there. He's all over it. I mean, that's pass interference. So if we go back to the offsides, Terry McLaurin is asking the ref. You can see it on the screen. Terry McLaurin, the guy that was called for offsides, is asking the ref, and you can do this as a wide receiver. He asks him, am I lined up? Look at him. He's like, am I good? Am I good? And the ref's like, oh, yeah, screwed up. And then this fucking ref throws the flag anyway. What are we doing? Commies have every right to be pissed, but, they traded for Carson Wentz, and then they're rolling with Taylor Heineke. So, I mean, it is what it is. Did it to themselves. They let the Giants score 20 points on them. The Giants improve to 7-5-1 on the year. The Commanders are 7-6-1. The Lions and Seahawks are 7-7. So that tie really fucking the Lions and Seahawks if they hadn't tied the first time. The Lions and Seahawks both, I believe, might be in, depending on who won these games. But, alas, the double tie would have been pretty sweet and hilarious, and also would have let the Lions in. There's a double tie because they would have tied each other twice, which would have just been too good. Oh, man, I can't. That would have been just the greatest thing of all time. Speaking of the Lions, they won 4th and inches for your Detroit football Lions, and they need a touchdown to win the game. They're down by 4. It's first play after the 2-minute warning, so they get 9 yards, then the 2-minute warning. It's 4th and inches, and they run this play.
Trying to keep this drive alive. Goff. Little pitch to right.
Unbelievable.
Big gain. Brock Wright is going to take it the distance.
50 yards for Brock Wright on a little sneaky whoopsie-doo throw over the middle. The Jets' defense is unreal. They were the better team, but they also have Zach Wilson. It is what it is. Your Detroit football Lions advance. They are now 7-7. No team in NFL history has advanced to the playoffs after going 1-6, except for one team from the 70s. The 70s. The Broncos beat the Cardinals in a game nobody cared about that had no meaning except for draft watchers. The Cardinals now jump into the 4th overall pick. That puts the Rams at the 5th overall pick, but the Rams haven't played yet. They play the Packers tonight. The Rams play the Packers tonight. Chargers, like I said, they won. They're barely hanging on. I don't know how they did it, but Brandon Staley has somehow turned the Chargers in 2022 into the 2014 Detroit Lions, which is hilarious. The Saints beat the Falcons in Desmond Ritter's first start. He did not look ready. That's a tough defense to play, but that's why you do it. You're wasting these there's no reason to waste these games. It's like teach them how to play. These games are irrelevant. Losing them is fine. The Eagles pull out a victory on the road against Chicago. The Bears cover. They look good. It was freezing and windy and awful, I suppose. I did not watch a second of Browns-Ravens because I'm just not going to watch Deshaun Watson at home. That just makes me sick to my stomach. Fucking piece of shit. And, I mean, I don't like – and it's Browns and Ravens. Lamar Jackson's hurt. Who knows? The Bengals – oh, yeah, I forgot about this game. We'll get out of here on this game. I think the Bucs were up like 17-0, and the Bengals scored 17-3 at halftime. And then the Bengals scored 17 in the third quarter, and now it's 17-20. The Bengals are leading, and then they score 14-6. They embarrass Brady and the Bucs after the Bucs went up 17 points. Guys, this Brady shit, it's gone from, it's just sad. Like I don't even know what to say. It's just sad, and no one cares about him anymore. It's not interesting. He was the greatest player of all time. Now, like this is what I'll remember him for a while. I will remember him unraveling in front of us. Heavy is the head, I suppose. Heavy is the head. Lionel Messi, the rumors are that he's headed to these United States of America to essentially own the MLS and play and fuck around. I love this. Whenever there's a great European, they retire. They go on their like little retirement siring tour in the United States. The word is that he's going to go to the capital of Latin America. That's Miami. He's the king of Latin America, at least for right now. That'll do it. Remember, Peter Drurry is the man. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Back and better than ever tomorrow.